Hello, thank you all for joining me today. My name is Cyrus. I'm owner and formulator for Pure Lab Vitamins here in Ottawa. I'd like to first of all give you a bit of information on our company and its philosophy. I've been a compounding pharmacist for half my life in both Germany and Canada, and that automatically exposes you to alternative approaches to health. Through my work with the pain clinic at the General Hospital, Civic Hospital, and with CHIO here in Ottawa, I one day stumbled across this, at the time, new kind of magnesium, and I ordered up my first 10 kilos of that mysterious magnesium glycinate powder, and the rest is practically history. I can clearly say magnesium glycinate has changed my life and the life of many, many of my customers. I used to actually make these capsules manually in my compounding lab at Desjardins Pharmacy in the Byward Market in Ottawa, and it was amazing to see how customers flocked to this product and how we quickly were no longer able to meet the demand for it within the pharmacy. So when we started Pure Lab Vitamins now 10 years ago with just the magnesium glycinate and one other product for pH balance called AlkaPure pH, we had a few simple but very important goals in mind for any new product under the Pure Lab Vitamins label. I needed to create therapeutically valuable formulas with highest possible standards on quality, purity, and efficacy. And both our raw materials and our finished products undergo extensive testing, and our specifications exceed Health Canada guidelines by a lot. Today, I no longer practice as a pharmacist. We currently have 24 licensed NPN products in the market, with a few more in the pipeline scheduled to launch early next year. We are growing above industry average year over year, and I believe this is simply due to the quality and efficacy that my products bring to the table. Today's webinar focuses on cognitive health and brain health. I always like to provide some background information first before I dive into the natural therapeutic options and dosage recommendations. You will be able to type your questions at any time in the Q&A section in the Zoom screen, many of which I will get answered during the presentation. My assistant Linda will be able to answer the easy ones in the background, leaving the deeper and more complex questions for me to answer after the presentation. You will also receive a link to the recording of this webinar in the next couple of days, so there's really no need for you to write everything down, take some notes, but I would much rather like you to lean back and listen. So, let's get to it. So today's talking points are explanation on neurodegenerative diseases and their risk factors, accepted measures to decrease those risks. I'm going to be specifically talking about Parkinson's disease, Alzheimer's, and dementia, and then options to maintain and potentially improve brain health naturally. So, our global population is aging. In Canada, 5.5 million Canadians are living with brain disease, disorder, or injury. 565,000 Canadians living today with dementia or Alzheimer's. And 25,000 new cases are coming onto that year after year. There's a variety of types of neurodegenerative disease. Best known is Parkinson's, dementia, and Alzheimer's, but there's also ALS, or Lou Gehrig's disease, MS, multiple sclerosis, and also Huntington disease, which is a very rare genetic disorder. And the risk factors for all these are, first of all, the genetic setup, and also increasing age, gender, poor education, and hormonal disbalances, stress, oxidative stress, inflammation, strokes, hypertension, and diabetes are very strong risk factors, but also smoking, any kind of head trauma or depression, vitamin deficiencies, and then there is environmental exposure, so-called forever chemicals that have an effect on the risks with neurodegenerative disease. So what can we do to reduce the risks? Number one, diet. Eat good fats for the brain. Balance your minerals. Optimize vitamin D3. Buy organic foods, buy local and seasonal foods, all to reduce chemicals as much as possible and improve nutritional content. We should try to reduce animal products and carbs. We should try to increase clean veggies. And you might notice I'm not raising my finger telling you to stop this and that. I hope to motivate you to work on changes. Next is lifestyle. Find ways to exercise daily. Use stairs. Walk more. Try to become more active. Pick a sport that suits you. Try to sleep a lot, but stay active. That's important. And finally, train the brain. Use Lumosity, crossword puzzles. Play games with friends and family if possible. Play Sudoku. All this to keep your brain active and firing. We got to talk about your environment. Investigate your house. Test your water, building materials, even furniture, and renew if necessary. Investigate your clothing, cosmetics, and choose clean alternatives. 98% of humans have detectable levels of so-called forever chemicals in their blood. We could spend a whole evening talking about this. So if you are interested in this kind of field, you can simply Google forever chemicals or read up in the blog section of our website. We just launched a new blog on this issue, beautifully written by our in-house blogger and nutritionist, Andrea Bartels. So detox becomes more and more important in our world today. But we have to help your body detox. Exercise engages the muscle pump and with that improves circulation. And this helps transport waste from the periphery back to liver and kidney so it can get metabolized and excreted. Become more alkaline. This specifically helps make enzymes work better. And it also makes acidic waste more water soluble. Maybe consider a guided detox once or twice a year. Talk to your naturopathic doctor or nutritionist and find out what detox program could work best for you. Alka Pure pH is a product that can be a powerful tool for such a biannual detox plan, helping your body shed acidic waste and become more alkaline. Also keep in mind, whenever you do a detox program, make sure to provide your body with a good B vitamin complex to make sure these cofactors are present to help enzymes and all detox pathways to work best possible. So let's talk about the 3 most common types of neurodegenerative disease, and that in a bit more detail. Firstly, there's Parkinson's disease. So here we have an image of a person affected by Parkinson's. The stooped posture is very noticeable. The most commonly recognized sign is uncontrollable shaking of hands, arms, and sometimes legs, and the shuffling short gait. Then we also have cognitive changes in Parkinson's. People show apathy symptoms, attention difficulties, they generally lack focus, and also so-called visual spatial dysfunction, where patients have a hard time recognizing common daily things and items. Even face recognition can become a problem for some, and they no longer are able to recognize even loved ones. Also very common is slowed thinking, difficulties in word finding, difficulties in learning and remembering. So Parkinson's disease is characterized by a sharp decline in brain levels of dopamine, and that is caused by destruction of those neurons, those cells in the brain that produce dopamine. Nobody truly knows why these cells die, but we have to consider genetic predisposition to Parkinson's and also environmental factors, which include radicals and the damage they cause. So what can NADH do for someone dealing with Parkinson's? NADH directly affects cognitive function by stimulating the production of dopamine and serotonin. These are both neurotransmitters involved in memory, learning, cognition, recall, and mood. NADH also improves ATP synthesis, which means energy. It fuels the mitochondria in brain cells and all other body cells. Low levels of NADH result in brain fog, slow mental processing, and even cognitive decline. More NADH means more energy, but also less fog, faster processing, improved cognitive function, even improved motor function. So now ubiquinol, the active form of CoQ10, is another very interesting supplement in this field. It is a powerful antioxidant protecting cells against radicals, but it also helps reverse mitochondrial dysfunction, providing us with more brain energy. I will point this out in detail in a few minutes. By combining NADH and ubiquinol, we are providing synergy to keep the brain firing. And in summary again, NADH stands for nicotinamide adenine dinucleotide, is naturally present in every cell in the body, is a coenzyme critical to the production of cellular energy in form of ATP. More NADH makes more ATP, period. NADH is also sometimes called the spark plug for our energy production. Research shows NADH improves cognitive function, enhances cellular energy, increases endurance. Some even say it extends lifespan. CoQ10, especially the ubiquinol, the active form, is also naturally present in every cell in our bodies, is created by the body and obtained from diet or supplements. It's also necessary to generate energy. Research here is showing the ability of CoQ10 to improve symptoms related to neurological disease. So here we have an image of our energy production cycle. It's called Krebs cycle or sometimes Citric cycle. And don't worry, I won't quiz you on any of these metabolic conversions, but I would like to point out a few things on this slide. So just relax and follow my lead. This circular chain reaction is what's happening in the mitochondria of every cell of our body. And it's supposed to run around smoothly, just like a tractor diesel engine, bzzz, producing energy. At the top, you see carbohydrates, fats, or amino acids providing the startup fuel. They get chopped into pyruvate and further converted into acetyl-CoA, which then enters the circular chain reaction. And this is practically how we make energy from carbs, fats, and protein. At the bottom of this cycle, you see how it throws out energy in form of ATP. But any of these steps only happen if all these cofactors, which are marked in yellow, are available at all times. You see here where NADH is involved. B vitamins are involved almost at every step. And there's a few steps where magnesium and CoQ10 are needed. So if only one cofactor is missing due to deficiency, the whole chain reaction grinds to a halt. And this is why it's so important to provide B-complex vitamins, magnesium, iron, and so forth. And again, NADH works as the spark plug for ATP production. The more NADH we have, the more ATP we can make. So if you're further interested in NADH, please Google Dr. Berkmeyer, Parkinson's video. It shows Parkinson's patients before and after intravenous NADH treatment. It's quite an old video, but you'll be amazed. In his work, Dr. Berkmeyer stated, NADH alleviated impairment of motor skills caused by Parkinson's and also improved corresponding cognitive dysfunction. It's quite something to see. Next on our list is dementia and Alzheimer's. First, I'd like to give you some definitions here. Dementia is a chronic or persistent disorder of the mental process caused by brain disease or injury, and it is marked by memory disorder, personality changes, and impaired reasoning. Alzheimer's is the most common subtype of dementia, and it accounts for 60 to 80% of all dementia cases. Alzheimer's disease is irreversible. It destroys brain cells, causing thinking ability and memory to deteriorate. Alzheimer's is not a normal part of aging. So here we have an image where we can clearly see the irreversible damage done by Alzheimer's disease. The cortex shrivels up, that's the outer perimeter of the brain. This area is involved in thinking, planning, and remembering. The hippocampus, this dark area above the brain stem, is severely affected. Here is where we store new memories. And the increased size of these hollow liquid-filled ventricles is an indication of brain cell death all over the brain, making these spaces increase in size. So what can the ubiquinol form of CoQ10 do to Alzheimer's patients compared to regular CoQ10 ubiquinone? Well, it is highly bioavailable and easily crosses the blood-brain barrier. That is why we use ubiquinol to get more active CoQ10 into the brain. Once in the brain, CoQ10 not only fuels ATP production in brain cells, but also protects against free radical damage. A study published in 2009 in the Journal of Molecular Science found CoQ10 also decreases so-called amyloid plaques in patients with Alzheimer's. Amyloid plaque are proteins and pieces of neurons floating around the brain forming deposits, plaques. And plaque is never desirable anywhere in our body. Even though amyloid plaque is itself not currently considered to be dangerous, but it's mostly used as a characteristic marker of Alzheimer's disease. So let's get these supplements summarized with added dosage recommendations. First, NADH. NADH can be used for prevention or support for individuals at risk of developing Parkinson's, Alzheimer's, dementia, also MS and ALS, but also for people dealing with brain fog, fatigue conditions. As a preventative measure, take 1 capsule daily, usually in the morning. But for those individuals recently diagnosed with any of these conditions, or individuals already dealing with them for some time, take full dose, 1 capsule twice daily, ideally morning and noon. You don't want to fire up the brain right before bed, right? So take the energy throughout the day. Obviously, the earlier you start this kind of brain support, the better. B vitamins. B vitamins include B1, B2, B3, B5, B6, B9, B12, and they have been implicated as protective factors against cognitive decline. Using a bioactive B complex in slow-release form guarantees blood levels throughout the day, energizing body and brain, and supporting your body's own production of NADH and ATP. Remember all the B vitamins in the Citric cycle slide? Yeah. When it comes to dosage, take 1 capsule twice a day, morning and noon. Again, not too late in the day. Or simply take 2 caps in 1 shot in the morning, and then you're done. It provides throughout the day. Next on the list is magnesium. There's this study, and they asked, are age-related neurodegenerative diseases linked to various types of magnesium deficiency or depletion? And they came to the conclusion that magnesium deficiency alone cannot result in or cause neurodegenerative disease, but it certainly is a contributing factor. And most people are magnesium deficient. Magnesium is part of the citric cycle as well. It plays an important role in the production of various neurotransmitters. Also very interesting and not well known, magnesium is and stabilizes ATP. It makes ATP more transportable. When it comes to dosage, to provide the recommended daily amount, or RDA, you take 3 caps a day, and I usually recommend 1 in the morning, 2 at night. If a more severe magnesium deficiency is anticipated, higher daily doses are needed initially, usually for just 2 or 3 weeks, to replenish the system, followed by then regular RDA dosing as maintenance. Finally, there's L-theanine. Stress and anxiety is very common during cognitive decline. L-theanine, a simple amino acid first found in the 1950s as the calming ingredient of green tea, inhibits the effects of stress hormones while upregulating serotonin, dopamine, and GABA. It helps you deal with stress and reduces anxiousness. Some call it nature's antidote to stress. For dosage, you can take 1 capsule up to 3 times daily. It's the perfect daytime supplement. It enhances focus and helps you deal with stress, but it doesn't make you drowsy or sleepy. But if taken at bedtime, It downregulates your subconscious overnight stress levels, and this way helps with so-called busy brain syndrome, where we wake up at 3 a.m. with never-ending repetitive thoughts and worries. And that's it from me today. I know it was a lot. You will receive the link to the recording in the next couple of days by email. And I'll be now answering the bigger questions that came in during the presentation. Thank you.